Hi there and welcome back to another Bitcoin price chart update. Since I did my last video, a lot has happened. Unfortunately, our worst fears have come to pass. It's not pretty at the moment, but let's look on the bright side. If you remember in my last video, I said that the price was coming down and we were probably going to test this support level a few times before we actually made our move. Now, I always suspected that before the big move up, we would get a little bit of a sharp dip, a very short, sharp dip. In other words, it would dip down and almost immediately recover, and then we would probably go from there. Now, what has happened is we did test this support level a few times, and for whatever reason, it literally just like fell off the edge of the table, like rolling a golf ball off the edge of a table. It literally, within a couple of hours, just literally dropped to what you see right now. Now, in order to see the whole picture, I have to zoom out a little bit and show you exactly where we are. Well, you probably know where we are. As you can see, I expected a dip, but I never expected it to cross this level that we had set quite a long time ago, a support level of around $5,700 to $6,000. It's like I said, this was not going to be a very accurate number. It was just not arbitrary, but a very general or almost there kind of thing. So let's look at call it 5,900. We crossed that line and we didn't even look back. It was like the line wasn't even there. We had a little bit of consolidation and then we dropped again. And then yesterday, when I saw this happen, I saw it drop and I thought, well, here comes $4,000. And it's not impossible still. But we had this sudden drop and an immediate reversal to higher than when we started the drop. And I thought, well, okay, this could be the recovery from this dip. And it well might be. But we are a long way from calling this a recovery yet. We are now basically back to where we were after our first major dip. So where does this leave us? Where can we go from here? I have to admit, for the near future, and I'm talking about the next week or so, it could go either way. Like I said, once we cross this support level of around 5,600 or 5,700 to 6,000, somewhere around there, once we cross that point, $4,000 is entirely possible. And at this point in time, I'm inclined to believe that $4,000 is more realistic than, or going down to 4,000 is more realistic than actually going up at the moment. I don't see any indication that it is going to turn and go up, but as we've seen, it keeps surprising us with all sorts of moves that nobody could have anticipated. Now this drop, there is no ways that this drop is natural market forces. This drop has been manipulated down. I mean, for it to happen so quickly, I mean, this is a 1 hour chart, and we're literally talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, call it 7 hours, 7 to 10 hours. This thing just drops like this. I don't know of any bad news that could have caused it. I don't know of any event in the space that could have caused this. This is, in my opinion, this is big money. This is institutionalized manipulation. It is big stuff. And for the only reason that I could think that they would do this is to be getting in. What is happening in the stock market, the not the JSE, I'm in South Africa, I'm thinking JSE now, it's the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. On the New York Stock Exchange, the US stock markets are in the process of crashing, in my opinion anyway. They are heading for destruction. Now, I've watched a few other so-called experts online on their opinions about this. And one of them had the opinion, or is of the opinion, that the markets, the stock markets are in a state of collapse. They are falling and they can't stop it. Now, their biggest fear is that people start to pull out all their money and put it somewhere else. So if, let's just say, the crypto market and Bitcoin in particular is stable or maybe rising slightly, and on the other side, the stock market is collapsing, where are people going to take their money from and where they're going to put it? They're going to take it from the stock market to cut their losses, and they're going to put it in a more stable environment like Bitcoin. So, and that is what they don't want to happen, because the more people that take out, the faster it is going to collapse on the stock market side, in my opinion. So how do they prevent this? Those bigger institutions that do have slight influence in the Bitcoin market, in other words, holders of Bitcoin, start selling, start dumping the market with Bitcoin in order to drop the price of Bitcoin so that people do not move from the stock market to the crypto market. This is my opinion of what has happened now. But they can't maintain this. In my opinion, the general consensus or the general market feeling was that Bitcoin was pretty stable. It wasn't, didn't have too much volatility, and in my opinion and others' opinions, it was going to gradually start moving up now. This move has been a desperate attempt, in my opinion, by those that are in control or those that have power in the traditional markets, the stock markets, the New York Stock Exchange, etc., have manipulated this price down to try and keep people in the stock market, because if people start removing their money, things just collapse even faster. And the faster they collapse, the faster they will withdraw their money. It's a snowball effect. So, yes, we are extremely low at the moment. And if there are more institutions that are willing to dump Bitcoin on the market to drop the price further, I think we could still go down further to $4,000 easily. As I said, we crossed this no-go zone, if you'd like to call it that, point of no return, like it wasn't even there. It was not a support level at all. You can see we briefly had one hour there, and it just went straight past. That tells me that this is definitely done on short notice and a desperate attempt to drop the price quickly to frighten people off of Bitcoin. How long will it last? At first, when we reached our main low around here, I didn't think this would last more than 24 hours, maybe 36. But at the moment, it is looking that it might last a little longer. People have got a fright, but I think the sentiment will calm down once people process what has happened, and more word or more videos like this get out. People are going to realize that what has happened here is not normal, and it's sort of sabotage, if you'd like to call it that. And the quicker people realize that, the sooner we are going to recover. I am still very bullish on a run by the end of December, and I think, well, we are now at the 16th of November. We should see signs of this rise before the end of November, before the end of this month. That leaves us roughly 2 weeks, just a little bit less than 2 weeks. So we have got, in my opinion, 2 weeks to show that this is in a recovery mode, or we are going to be falling below $4,000, or down to at least around the $4,000 mark. It's quite possible. I wouldn't panic even if it does that. This Bitcoin will never go to zero. It's not going to go to zero. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general are here to stay. There's no ways they can go to zero. There's billions and billions of dollars in this industry, in this market, and all it is now is a case of sentiment, market sentiment. As soon as the people realize that this kind of thing cannot happen by itself, this kind of thing was done purposely to try, as a desperate attempt to try and keep people in the stock market, in my opinion. So I think we have probably been down for long enough now to see people the sentiment start to change, and we should see us climb out of this dip, hopefully. But all it's going to take to sabotage that again is one more institution, one more person with a lot of Bitcoin, as well as a lot of stocks in the stock market, to decide to dump a few Bitcoin to try and keep people in there. And then we could see another further drop. And as I said, $4,000 is entirely possible. That is my take on it for now. It's too difficult to try and predict a manipulated market because you don't know what people's motives are and why they're doing this. Like I said, this is not a natural movement. This is natural for people, but we can't tell what's on somebody else's mind. We can only look at the clues as to try and decipher why these things happen. And, well, I've given you my explanation. Nobody saw this coming. Well, I saw a little dip coming, and maybe down to, break the support level down to maybe, call it 6,000 and shoot back straight up. This is unfortunately where we are right now. It's not a nice place to be. It's very worrying for those that hold Bitcoin, and luckily I'm not. I sold a little bit that I bought, luckily, when it was before the drop, and I bought myself some more Dignity tokens with it. So yeah, that's where we are today. Unfortunately, I'm sorry I couldn't predict this. I don't think anybody did. But yeah, that's where we are now. And let's see what happens in the next couple of days to 1 week at the most. I think we should know where we're going from there.